Quality. I'm surprised as well that I went out of my way to yet again bring up My Little Pony, especially after I kind of promised a review for removal. But I said in my last My Little Pony review that I wanted to review this episode, unknowing that it was already out, so of course I'm late to the party. Again. It's what I get for not being a brony, but who cares? So let's begin. We start with the 6 main characters talking about what to do next. Since I've only reviewed an episode not involving these 6, here goes the introduction. Twilight Sparkle is the purple one, Rainbow Dash is the blue one, Rarity is the white one, Pinkie Pie is the pink one, Fluttershy is the yellow one, and of course we've met Applejack, the orange one. But of course you're not gonna see these, so there's no really bother to remember them, as I'll be using their names throughout the episode. Anyway, since the last review, I now kinda understand what cutie marks are for. For my main audience, they're a mark on the anus to show special talents. So for example, Pinkie Pie has balloons on her butt to show she's good at parties. Remember this, as it'll be important later down the road. Anyway, their butt marks start glowing and show a place on a huge map that's in the middle of the room. At this point, even I know where this is going. So they go to the point on the map and find a really dull place with houses that look exactly the same. Pinkie goes down to investigate and motions them to go with her. This scene is weird to say the least, but I understand it's well enough in character, so I'll deal with it. As they look upon the village, Pinkie notes how suspicious this place looks. So congrats, Pinkie, you're my favorite pony out of these 6, and Fluttershy shows how much she likes the place, which shows she'll probably represent the feminist of the group. So congrats, you are my least favorite. Which, here's the thing, I watched the pilot episodes and my thoughts were reversed. Pinkie was originally, to me, annoying, so I disliked her, and Fluttershy was really quiet, so I enjoyed her more. So now it's reversed. I don't know. Coming from a non-brony perspective, these ponies will probably jump around as favorite and least favorites, I'm sure. Also, I've not watched this episode as of recording, or not. I did not watch the episode prior to writing the script, so if anything in here sounds a little bit out of place, that's why. So the ponies meet up with the town as they are welcome, and as they welcome, it feels unsettling, showing the riders definitely have some sense into them and made them creepy on purpose, so congrats, you get a point on my scorecard. The town sees Tara Strong, Twilight Sparkle, and asks if she's an alicorn, whatever the fuck that is. But I will say she does look different than the time I watched the pilot. Anyway, the 2 bland characters introduce themselves, and then introduce the group to Starlight Glimmer, and then Pinkie continues explaining how wrong the town is. They get introduced to Glimmer, and Glimmer sings a song explaining to the group that they should surrender to the system and become silhouettes of their former self. Now, here's where the controversy is going to be strong here. I like equality as much as the next person, but the simple fact is, some people are just better at things than others. Example, I'm terrible at drawing, so comparing my art to someone else's will show that I am not equal to them in art skills. My script writing isn't that great either, so try comparing me to the nostalgia critic and you'll understand what I mean. It's as simple as that. I understand that the motive of the writers wanted to push, that's the motive that the writers want to push, but the way they're pushing it is absolutely terrible, because at least during this point they are making it seem like it's a better thing than it is. Also, the motive of the character is very wrong. As they say, they conform to a cult to take out arguments so they could all be friends. However, that doesn't work either, as you need arguments to make a friendship work, so that fails on both accounts. Anyway, when the song ends, Rainbow Dash tells them how ridiculous it seems, and Fluttershy tells her that it's not ridiculous before Pinkie points out yet again that their conformity is messed up, and that everyone should be themselves, which is another point I need to bring up. See, within middle and high school, I lost a lot of friends because they wanted to fit into the conformed swag fag look, sagging their pants, wearing Opie hats, and talking like they were from Boys in the Hood. It shows you don't give a fuck about your name and personality, and that you'll conform like Lacey Green did to feminism. It's both stupid and wrong. Twilight Sparkle said that they were sent here to help Glimmer, who gives a fuck, asks if they were sent there to be helped instead, which now gives me a chance to talk about the incredibly infamous topic of feminism. Modern feminism is a joke. Men and women are in fact mostly equal within the 21st century, despite the absolute lie of a pay gap. However, you want women to be put ahead of men, so instead of standing side by side, you'll whine and complain until universities, public places, and the fucking government make it to where if you don't conform to the ideologue, they are sexist pigs. And that annoys the ever-living fuck out of me. But at this point, all the ponies seem suspicious as they feel like the brainwashing will commence soon. So they stay on their guard as Glimmer says when the princesses give up her cutie mark, all of the world will know what she's trying to accomplish, which is basically conformity and communism to the highest extent. Rarity shows her prejudice, and Fluttershy gives them basically a shark sharp verbal stab showing how much of a dense motherfucker she is. Look, prejudices are bad. I'm not condoning racism, sexism, or any other prejudice. But there's a fucking reason this dense yellow fuckwit is a moron and she can't see it. She comes from a place where everyone's fucking job is built on their special skills, where every person, or in this case pony, is separated by skills, just like in the real world. We differ on skills. They start arguing that the journey was all for naught, and just as the waitress comes around, and you can see she doesn't like the arguing one bit, but at the arguing ends, the whole script kicks into awesome mode, and the waitress asks if they're alright. Rarity explains that differing opinions makes a friendship, and the poor waitress seems afraid about something. Now, when writing this script, I didn't watch the whole episode beforehand, so I wasn't sure what was going on. The only thing I can assume is that the thought police tracked down the poor Sweetie Belle and killed her. But that's not the case. Before that, she tells the six to meet her downstairs into her house, so then they tell Pinkie Pie to down a bunch of muffins while they go talk to Sweetie Belle. The foreshadowing's strong with this scene, as I imagine they'll hypnotize poor Pinkie. I feel incredibly sad for her, as she was the fastest one to realize how bad this place was. Also, not the case. After watching the full episode, I felt stupid for adding this into the script, but, you know, I thought it was just too funny to take out. Or at least at the time. They all go down to meet up with Sweetie Belle, and Sweetie Belle tells them that nobody will hear the screams of what's going to happen. Wait, isn't this a fucking children's show? What the hell, Hasbro? Oh wait, never mind. They were just happy to see ponies who are different. During this conversation of fangirling, Sweetie Belle mentioned something along the lines of, I wish I could have my special talent back for a day. Which really shows what's going on, and Twilight explains that they pretty much lost all personality because of this conformity. So the brainwashed ponies explain that the Cutie Marks are stashed away into a vault, and the six go to visit the vault, and the horrors of their face really shows how fucked up a process is this. For my main audience, imagine being the best in your class at math, then going through mandatory brain surgery to lose that skill. That way you barely pass math every year for the rest of the time you're in school. Yeah, that's pretty much that bad. So Anita Starlight Glimmer explains the concept of the vault, and then asks how they learned about the vault, of which Pinkie blurts out. Starlight Glimmer, doesn't like the fact that they support free thought and zaps them with a rod of sameness, taking away their personalities and skills, forcing them to conform. Twilight and the others are understandably angry and demand they give them back. And that's the end of part 1. Now part 2, because fuck the 15-minute limits, this is me doing what I love, despite Viacom shutting me down. So starting part 2, the village is trying to brainwash the six into conforming, and Rainbow Dash tries breaking out despite being an obvious window to break out of. Property damage or no, break it. They're trying to wipe you from existence. Rarity can't tell fashion, Fluttershy can't talk to animals, and so on. They stay in solitary confinement until Twilight comes up with a plan involving Fluttershy to lie to the village so she's conformed to their ideology. As they walk out to argue over whether or not it works to force everyone into one box, Fluttershy puts the plan into action, making Fluttershy my favorite again. Until they decide to corner her, making it into a decision to rat on Sweetie Belle until one ratted himself out and gets trapped into the room with the others. Party Favors is his name. And Party Favors goes crazy shouting, "Game over, man! Game over!" Then the five decide to show that having disagreements isn't a bad thing, to show Senior Favors that they can still be friends despite their differences, to convert him, and the village is trying to fully convert the Yellow Wonder onto their side. Now, after this scene, this is kind of a side note here. After this scene, I will explain something about Party Favors, okay? I really like Party Favors' character, so I'll kind of tell you here. That night, she goes to get the Cutie Marks back, and you can really see self-conflict within this scene. As she hears Double Diamond and Glimmer talking, eventually Glimmer pours water on herself, showing Fluttershy a real Cutie Mark on Glimmer's buttocks. That morning, they see if any of the five has snapped back in. With no luck, Fluttershy locks them up. However, Party Favor snaps, making me feel really sorry for the guy, as Twilight gets Glimmer to explain how this works. As she does, Fluttershy pours water, revealing the Cutie Mark she owns, and the town turns on her. Now, here's where I'll talk about Party Favors a little bit more. Party Favors, I have to say, is one of my favorite characters in this episode. As it, like, the people who wrote this episode really know how, like, feminism and stuff like that works, or, like, you know, being a cult really works. She knows that if whoever wrote this, he or she, I guess I should say, really knows that if you are in a cult or in feminism or in Christianity or anything like that, if you get a single thought stuck into your mind for as long as Mr. Party Favors has, he really snapped. Like, he was saying, oh, they were trying to make me conform to their ways, but I won't do it because I want to go to like heaven or whatever, you know. He wasn't really on those lines of heaven and stuff like that, but it was basically a cult, which is basically what Christianity or feminism is. So they wanted to keep, you know, their ideologue as much as fucking possible. They wanted to grip on that, and that is really fucking strong writing, and it's really realistic too, from what I understand of, you know, being in a cult. Although I'm not in a cult, so basically what I see other people being in a cult. I really want to show these clips to explain something else, but I'll have to deal with it with what I've got. The town calls her a liar, and she says everything else is true, which is kind of stupid logic Anita brings up in her frequency videos, especially the part where she says she's an avid gamer. Everyone can be happy if we're all equal. Yeah, like those feminists who said we'll be better off equal except the men. Now, if only this worked in real life, life would be so much more tolerable. So my final verdict, this is utter brilliance. Overall, this has to be the absolute best animated Angels I've reviewed from a show that I don't even care about. Thank you, Hasbro. If I don't find anything better, you'll definitely be in the Hall of Best Episodes for Season 1 of Animated Angels. And for the rest of you, I'll see you guys soon. Take care.